to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in AFL SuperCoach are incoming, helping you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight AFL Show with your hosts, Big Horse and Skitty.
G'day and welcome to the Inside AFL Show. I'm your host, The Horse, and with me, there's no Skitty tonight, but he'll be back Wednesday night. We got the A team from our pre-season, ladies and gentlemen. Deadly, just below me. How are you, mate?
Yeah, doing good, mate. Doing good. Pretty up and down week for me, myself. But yeah, hopefully it all kicks on throughout the season. And yeah, the people want Skitty back, so I'll be here for now.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a cheeky grin on his face, ladies and gentlemen, because we're into the third quarter of the West Coast Gold Coast game, and he's got a cheeky C on Matt Rowell. So, yeah, that's why he's up and about. But anyway, down below, we've got our stats man, our man from the preseason, Hurls. He's back. How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm good, mate. A bit of a tough weekend, some blowouts, some tough games to watch, but it's okay. It's round one. There's plenty of time. Round one doesn't make or break everything. It just sets it up for what you do next.
That's all right. That's exactly right. And with trades now, we've got 40 trades. So for the people out there that may have missed on a rookie or missed on Bailey Smith or someone like that, that's why we've got so many trades. We can correct these. That's why they're called correction trades. It's not doom and gloom. Even if you're 400 or 500 off the pace after round one, you do your trades right and you'll be back in the game in a couple of weeks. So don't get too far down. One, it is just a game, but two, plenty of people in the past, like you, Hurls, last year, you went from, was it 70,000th all the way up to 32nd in a matter of 10 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah. I had a look today. It was an uncanny resemblance. So my score this week is 2056, I think it is. And last year it was 2062 in round one. So, maybe I'll be about 70,000th again, which isn't where I wanted to start, if I'm really honest, but it is what it is. And you now the work starts, because everyone's got very similar starting teams. Let's be honest. It's That's sort right. of some slight differences here and there. And now it's what you do and which guys you bring in and how you generate cash. They're all the main things.
Spot on. Before we kick off tonight, ladies and gentlemen, like, subscribe, and bell. We call it being the triple banger. But also, if you're listening to us on audio, give us that 5-star review. That gets us out into the algorithm of all SuperCoach-minded people that love a bit of banter along with their SuperCoach knowledge. Deadly, should we just get straight into it tonight, or what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, we may as well. I'm laughing because I asked before we hopped on the show. I asked the squid, as we know, he likes to cone people and put rockets up people's bums, and just get people into the game. I asked him to give one to Harley Reid for my multi. He gave him a rocket, and Harley kicked a goal not even 5 seconds later. So
it works.
It works well.
The hand of God works in our way of Skitty. But tonight, our game is going to be brought to you by the Standard Squeeze, who have been with us since day one. Use the promo code in-store IFS 2025. That's right, IFS 2025 to get yourself 15% off everything in store. All right, boys, we started on Thursday night with the Tigers pulling off. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know it's round one. It's our first proper game, I guess you call it, for the year, but this is probably going to be the upset of the year, Hurls.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be topped, will it? We don't have a crystal ball, but I don't know. I think everyone's predicting, 1 or 2 win seasons. I think the line for Richmond was 2.5 wins for the year, and people are going on about Carlton being top 4 and all this kind of crap. And it was fantastic. It set the weekend up beautifully. It's always good when Carl Scum lose the first game.
Yes, but. Well, let's talk about Carlton first before we talk about the winners. And, none of us thought that Richmond would be on the 1-0 side. That's the winning side after round one. But TDK, Deadly, what's wrong now?
Yeah, Jake Waterman just got subbed.
No. All right, let's talk about SuperCoach. We'll talk about it later.
Silence in the pod.
Oh, no. All right. Anyway, yes, TDK, Jet. If Mark Pitnett comes back in this side, I am furious. I'll put it that way. He's so good around the ground. He gets everything done. It's just God, he will be a top 3 ruck if Shitnet just stays away.
Oh, 100%. I think the knock on TDK last year was that he probably struggled against the more physical rucks, but he looked really good against Nank, didn't he, Hurls?
He did. And look, as the game wore on, he got better. Like I think he ended up, 28 touches or whatever it was, and held his own in the hit outs, 30 to 35. He looked good. I guess the worry is they don't have a second ruck. And that's the problem with Shitney coming back is I think they use Cripps as their second ruckman. That's ridiculous. You don't put your Rolls Royce in the ruck at any stage. And so if
you don't drive a Ferrari in the mud, do you?
Nah, exactly. I mean, I guess Curnow comes back. It means Harry Mackay can chop him out, and maybe that'll be helpful. But yeah, I think TDK, I mean, I owned him. I had the VC on him. I took his 148. Very happy owner at the moment. But obviously the risk with him is if Shitnet pops up any stage, we're got to probably jump off him.
That's right. So we see TDK 148, Cripps 120. Owners will be happy with that. Chera, one of those mid-price madness players that we were speaking about last week, 106, doing owners the world of good. Silvani, Whisperer's favourite man, Deadly, he got to 100. But apart from that, like Walsh was disappointing at 81. Ollie Hollands, I'm not calling that successful, 79 Supercoach points. Doherty came on halfway through the third quarter or towards the end of the third quarter and ended up on 67 Supercoach points and 14 touches and was the best rated player on the ground from when he came on.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic when he came on. Campriali, he did his job. It didn't really show Supercoach wise with the 20 touches only amounting to 56 Supercoach points, but yeah, he'll keep his spot comfortably, I reckon, after that game. I don't want to hear Jack Silvani's name be brought up on this AFL show ever again, so I hope he starts scoring low. I'm very sick of having Josh in my DMs talking about him.
Talking about it. Ollie Lord was pretty good until he got subbed out, 14 touches. Lucas Campriali, good for a first game too, the 20 touches, which helped us nail a few multis. But when we look at the Richmond side, Jonas has nailed it here that Carlton had 65 inside 50s to 40, so that's 25 more, 7 more scoring shots. No, you're right. Richmond aren't going to kick 13 goals for every week. Jonas is sober. I'm not sure whether I like it.
I think he's right, but look, they took advantage of the fast break. Carlton's defence looks extremely shaky if you can keep it away from Wiedering in the air. And they figured that out after half time. They didn't bomb it down the line, and they got the win they needed to have, which is sometimes hard for those young teams. You get in the position with a few minutes to go. I think they were leading, by a couple of goals with 6 or 7 minutes left. Sometimes you find it hard to hold on because you don't know how to win, and they did. So good luck to them.
100%. Jack Ross is not going to score 134 Supercoach points each week. Nankervis, 114. He started off really well, but sort of petered out towards the back end of the game. But that's all well and good. Vlastwin, 101. Dow, 100 again. You're not going to get 100 out of him each week. Jaden Short, though, Deadly, burning owners. He was on, 81 at halftime and ended up on 83 Supercoach points.
Yeah, shocking. But I was actually talking to Whisperer about Short because he's had him all preseason and stuff like that. And he said to me he wants Richmond to be shit because then, more behinds, more kickouts, more time in the back half. And that's sort of when Richmond turned the game on and Jaden Short just wasn't involved. So it's a fair point that if Richmond are shit, Jaden Short does succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair because they got a real run on, didn't they?
If you've got him, you probably just have to wait another week now anyway. Yeah,
you do.
If you didn't watch the game and you didn't see the live scoring ticking over, and you look up Jaden Short 80, what was it, 85 or 83, whatever it is, you go, all right, well that's sort of not great, but it's not the end of the world. He's a mid-pricer, he's a stepping stone. I think you just hold off and wait. There'll be more problems to fix than Jaden Short, I would imagine, and I'm sure we'll get to some of those later on in this episode.
I'm going to bring up Camden McIntosh. McIntosh in the headband was wetting the pickle. Oh, that looks sexy, him running around with the there was a bit of Alex Caruso for those that know their NBA about him. But deadly Sam Layla, my fucking God, he's going to be a player.
Yeah, I think we deserve to say his name right once on this podcast. I think we're yet to say it right on this podcast.
What is it? Lawler.
Sam Lawler. Jet. Nothing else we could say. He's going to be a jet. He already is a jet. But how about, and I bet you the Squid would have liked this, how about after he kicked his goal, you seen the TikTok video of where his wang's hanging out?
I haven't, no.
Oh, he pulled a Dan Butler. Let's just say that
much. Dear. Oh, dear. All right, while you move on to the next game, Deadly, for those that have been watching over the past couple of weeks, we've had a competition running, and that is for following our NFL guys, Maverick, Mullen, and DFAB on social media, but also jumping across to our Patreon and subscribing. And you are going to go into the draw to win tickets to the AFL next weekend, Members Lounge with a drinks package, Essendon versus Adelaide. We've got 2 winners for you tonight. Our first winner is the big man himself, Michael Higginson. Here you go. You've won one of the tickets, mate. Please DM us to claim that. Our next rewardee will come up later on in the episode. So here you go. Congratulations. Send me a DM, mate, and I'll send you the ticket.
Well done, Higo. Hey, before we move to the next game, do people out there who are thinking about a must-have around Lawler, what do you boys think? So I think there's a case either way here, right? I think it's an interesting one.
It's a fantastic question. Me personally, I'm gonna give him and Sardis one more week. If it's the same sort of thing where he goes all right, and Sardis doesn't really get the tog, which I think is what Sardis' biggest problem. I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
it's a pretty simple swap in my eyes, but I think sort of he benefited just off how well Richmond played out of their own back half.
Yeah. For me,
if you've already got him,
if you already got him,
if you already got him, awesome. If not, I'm not chasing him.
Yeah, same.
Because my opinion is Hurls. That's right. He's got the skills. He'll be a very good player, but he came on once Richmond started to get their roll on against Carlton and scored, was like 50-odd points from halfway through the second quarter onwards.
Yep. Richmond
aren't going to have games like that a lot. Like once they play the pointy end teams, like that might only turn into a 50 or a 60 for Lawler or Layla. What is it, Lawler?
Lawler.
With that, I think he's a safe fade. Hurls, have you got anything else you'd like to say on that?
Yeah, I'm going to wait and see. I mean, 74, even just mathematically, 74 at 200K isn't someone I'm going to desperately have. And I think there's plenty of other midfield rookies that are going to make as much or more cash, so I won't be chasing him.
Yeah,
we'll give this bloke a shout out, Deadly, because Richmond aren't going to be on top of Essendon for too long. But Skits Fits, congratulations, mate. Your boys played a heck of a game. You 1-0. Love it. It's not going to last, though, mate. So don't stay on your high horse from the horse for too long. Now, Essendon versus Hawthorn. So the first quarter, I went back and watched it as well as you, blokes. I was pretty busy on Friday, so I didn't get to watch the game. But fuck, Hawthorn are a serious side, Hurls.
Yeah. If you wanted to script any kind of structure that Essendon can't handle, it's quick back flankers, elite ball users, and small forwards, and Hawthorn have all three. And so I walked away as an Essendon fan not overly disappointed with the end result, the way they fought the game out. I just walked away impressed with the way Hawthorn went about it, to be completely honest.
Yeah. From a SuperCoach point of view, Deadly, we'll start with the to be flagged ons. Caldwell. Sad Dons. Caldwell was just awesome, wasn't he? He was everywhere. 11 tackles there. Is that 36 touches for Caldwell as well?
Yeah, he brought his own footy. He was best on for Essendon, and it wasn't close. He's probably still not an option. Like, if it was last year and he still had that forward DPP, he probably would have been in my team to start just because, it's gorgeous with the forward DPP. But with how many mitts we got, he's probably still not an option.
No. Dersma, Drake. What's that? Sorry, Hurls?
The bye's the problem. Like,
Yeah.
you're not really going to target any Essendon players at the moment, are you?
No. Dersma was good, 113. Draper surprised me. He looks like he's taken another step to his game. 25 hit-outs, 5 tackles, 12 touches, 103 SuperCoach points. Durham, Merritt, all really good. Mr. Scott, coach of the Essendon Footy Club, you listen here, mate. What the fuck are you thinking playing Mason Redmond in the midfield? Don't you ever do that again. Thank you. So that's a plead on behalf of all Essendon supporters, because as soon as Redmond left the guts and we structured up as we normally would, Hurls, we look good.
Yeah. I mean, Ridley out means Redmond has to go back anyway. So even by design, they have to do it this week, which is okay. And look, I think the flow-on effect, and we spoke about Sardis really quickly a minute ago. I'm not as worried as some about the TOG. Like, plenty of people are calling out the 57%. I spent most of my Friday night arguing with people on Twitter about Sardis. It was lots of fun. I think he's got the role. It was just the matchup. He against those bigger bodied mids, he struggled to get into the game. Second half, I think he found his feet and he was fine. Like anyone, though, I'm not too emotional about SuperCoach, and if he doesn't score well this week, he'll be punted. That's just the nature of SuperCoach. At 185 grand, there's no room for sentiment in this game. If your 185k rookie can't get more than 50, he's going to get the arse.
That's right. Deadly, how long is the Dylan Shield experiment going to last?
Apparently not very long. Apparently, I saw today that apparently that was probably his last game at halfback, which I don't know how much I believe in it, but because he's a proper butcher of the footy, let's just be honest here. And I saw somebody today that because he shanks it so much that's probably his last game at halfback, which I wouldn't read into it too much, but it could possibly be ending very, very soon anyway.
Yep. That's enough talking about Essendon. We could talk about them all night about how good they are, but we're not going to. Carl Amon, he was really good. 28 touches, 10 marks, 122 SuperCoach points. Sicily was good, 109. Connor McDonald, 104. The Wizard, Watson, 100 SuperCoach points. Fuck, he plays for a free kick worse than Ginnivan. Dylan Moore, 94. He's interesting because he did this last year. He sort of went below average, dropped to about 430K, and then our man, the Squid, came out on air and said, we need to target this guy because he's too cheap for what he can potentially do. And then from round 6 onwards, he was the number 2 forward in SuperCoach last year behind Sam Flanders.
Yep.
So I kind of like this 90s from Moore, where his price is going to drop, and then we can jump on him later, Hurls.
Yeah, and I think you'll get an even lower score at some stage. Like, he's a really good footballer, but because they have the 5 small forwards, there's just going to be a game or two in there where he sort of, the ball doesn't go to him and it goes to the others. So I reckon he'll be a good sort of second half of the year target for us. Mm-hmm. The Hawthorn buy is really hard to manage. Like, if we're all doing correction trades over the next 2 weeks, like Carl Amon surprised me. He looks really good. Sicily's done what owners would be wanting from him. Will Day probably fell off a little bit, but he's still going to get a price rise because of last week's score. But you can't pick any of them up because they got to buy in 2 weeks. If you didn't start with them, you're not going to jump on them now.
No, you're not. Deadly. Will Day. Massive crash back down to earth. Half his score from last week.
Yeah. I'm not worried. I'm not really worried. It's just, we sort of had this discussion, at an absurd hour of the night at WhatsApp while all of us were, soaking up how Essendon, sad dons anyway. Essendon, because they were so restrictive to rucks, Meek got absolutely dominated and just couldn't give any good ball down to any mids. The mids couldn't shine realistically, and it was just sort of as simple as Essendon were just so restrictively good at stoppages that they couldn't shine.
Yep, spot on. Yep. And that was the same for John Newcomb, 25 touches, 81 SuperCoach points. We'll look down the list there, and there's not much else going on there with the Hawks. So we'll move into our next game, Deadly. What do we got next? Fuck, this was a thumping. wasn't it? Fremantle had a run on in the third quarter where Murphy Reid went from
Murphy Reid had a run on. That's it.
Oh, mate, he went from prime Bo Allen of the preseason to prime Buddy Franklin for about 10 minutes, and then went back to prime Bo Allen and did fuck all. He didn't touch the ball in the second quarter or the fourth quarter, mind you. He had a 55-point third quarter and went from -12 or whatever it was to 43.
Yeah. Yeah, he went from -8 to 43 and then 6 points in the last quarter or something like that.
It was bloody good to watch, though, wasn't it? Like that patch.
I love it.
And I think that this is it really reminded me, and sometimes you sort of, as people who are so obsessed with SuperCoach, you get sort of fixated on watching for scores and watching what's going.
Mm-hmm.
But that, like, forget about what he's doing SuperCoach. Geez, that was good for 20 minutes.
Oh, it
he
was
just
great to
commanded the
watch.
footy. He's an 18-year-old kid, and he was just loving it. It was brilliant.
Yeah. From a Fremantle point of view, Deadly, I'll go to you first. Clark, Sarong, Brayshaw, the standouts for Freo?
Yeah, I mean, they all did the job we sort of expected them to do, especially in an absolute pumping like this. To still all score 100, that's fine. You take that if you started with any of them.
Nod as well. Nathan
O'Driscoll was good.
Brilliant.
Yes. 25 touches. He was one that we identified in the preseason.
He also can't kick on his right, is what I noticed.
No.
Hates a right foot kick, that bloke.
You know what else I noticed in this game? Without the chip kicks around the back line, Luke Ryan looks a little slow, doesn't he, Hurls?
Sorry, I might have to scroll down just to find him here.
Very worrying for Luke Ryan. Although he's going to be very cheap at some stage later on. What did he get? 60 odd, Deadly? I can't see that. Can't see
67.
That. Yeah. So
66. Yeah.
I think the game didn't suit him at all. Let's put it that way. He was crap.
Yep. I don't think there's much else to talk about from the Fremantle perspective. So we'll move across to Geelong, and I'm going to put my hand up. You know, here at Insight, we don't back away when we're wrong, and we're quick to admit our mistakes. And I think I was wrong about Bailey Smith. I was watching his running patterns. I was watching the way that he was using the ball. His kicking still isn't 100%, but you know what? His hands are exceptional in close. And if he's playing that inside mid-roll and then spreading from contest and being a receiver, I have to bring him in this week. It's a mistake that I didn't start with him, but I'm lucky that I've got a bit of cash in the bank, and I decided to go Matt Flynn instead in my flex, and that's not really working. But I'm happy to be bringing in Bailey Smith in that spot, Deadly.
Yeah, I'm probably looking to bring him in this week too, which, it's not great. I thought he was going to be one guy I'd be able to get, somewhat later in the year. That's similar price to what he is now with a couple down games, but it just doesn't look likely. I will say one thing. Someone tell him to take them black boots off, because no one can do it like Tom Stewart does wearing a Geelong jersey. That's all I'll say.
No,
that's my only downgrade for Bailey Smith. Besides that, he played fantastic.
Have they got St Kilda next week?
I don't even want to know. Probably.
Yeah.
Let me have a look.
Because I really don't like Cheese in the chat. Windy tag though, Horse. I don't think Windhager's gonna keep up with him. The spread from contest, I don't see it being an issue.
I don't trust Windhager to tag much at all, to be honest. He attempted to tag Dawson for about half of a quarter today and completely failed. So I can't see much of it going on.
Yeah.
I think historically they go all right against the Cats, but they were horrid today. I just can't see how they can stop anyone, to be completely honest. They just don't have the cattle.
Hurls, talk to me about Maxi Holmes.
Bloody excellent. Really good. I guess watching this game, you do have to just be a little cautious that, one, it was at GM HBA, two, for 3 quarters, Freo were non-competitive. And so some of the scores might be inflated, and, you wouldn't expect your Bailey Smith's 147s and Holmes 125s every week. But I think I saw enough in both of their roles, and I saw enough. If you were liking Tom Stewart, I wouldn't talk you out of him either, because he was off for half the first quarter and still got 100. The way Geelong structure, they are always going to be dangerous because they just get the extra man behind the ball, they mark it, they chip it, then they run. And I think if you don't have Holmes, he's someone you could target if you have someone to jump off that you don't like.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got Josh Strange in the chat for those that don't know. Our man, the Whisperer, Bailey Smith can't hurt you if you fade. Deadly, anything you want to say to him? What did you score in NRL this week, actually? Surely you had him.
No, I think Josh had me quite comfortably too.
What did he score in NRL?
I don't know, but I reckon he probably had me. I had a pretty bang average week in NRL. Oh, it's not good. Josh has been. Oh, actually, I think we scored
12.96 for.
I got him by a point in NRL. I got him by a point.
13.01 for me.
Who's the expert now? Who's the expert now? No, fuck my apology. Who's the expert now, champ?
Let's talk about NRL for an hour.
Yeah. Nah.
I got 13.01 in NRL, and I don't know one end of the field from another.
That's awesome. DeConing, are we buying stock in SDK Deadly?
I'm not. Can probably see the appeal in it a bit more now. But yeah, I don't see it keeping up, especially since it was against good old Liam Reedy. And let's be honest, he was tragic in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think tragic is probably nice to him. He was shocking. And yeah, SDK just had his way, to be honest. Luke Jackson, when he went into the ruck, looked phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why they're not just doing that now. I don't see a reason to play Reedy anymore. He's horrid.
On SDK though, he's going to play against Saints next week, who Marshall didn't play much time in the ruck today, so he's going to be up against Boyd. He's not the worst shout if you want to correct from someone like Perryman. I'm going to wait another week on that kind of thing, but it's certainly something to keep a lookout for.
Yeah,
for sure. Mitch Nevitt was good though, Hurls. 9 kicks, 12 handballs, 21 touches, and 11 tackles.
Yeah, did what we wanted him to do. Slowish start, but he worked into the game really well. I think sometimes we forget that these guys who aren't, hardened veterans, they do take a bit of time to get into the pace of the game, especially playing around the footy. But he looked really good. No problems there. If you don't have him, he's one of the correction trades you need to be doing in the next 2 weeks.
For sure. Got the next game up for us, Deadly?
Can do. Just want to, I don't know if Kiz is here, but our guy, Zach Guthrie, played great. So, yeah, that's we'll give him his flowers as we always do and move on, but he's not really an SC option.
The Swans in a heartbreaker against the Brisbane Bears, the Brisbane Lions, whatever you call them. Fitzroy, the old Fitzroy, yeah. Sydney, they wouldn't have started 0-2 for a while, Hurls.
No, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into early season form, but I just think they've got so many holes, and they're plugging gaps. They brought in defenders this week because their defense was crap last week, and then they were mids late in the game at the end. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't want to be too dramatic about Sydney, but there's always a grand finalist that drops away the year after, and it looks Sydney at the minute anyway, early days.
Yep. This is episode 1 of me talking about why you should not trade in Dane Rampy. He's at 306k. He scored 109, which you would think, wow, that's really good value. There's a fair chance, Deadly, he backs it up with a 40 next week, isn't there?
Can this be episode 1? Like, you know how they call episode 1 the pilot? And then can we also call this the finale too? So
okay.
I don't want another episode of why we should have to explain why Dan Rampy isn't an option.
Fair call.
Yeah.
But you're right. Just no.
Nick Blakey, he was borderline annoying for me. So he took a lot of the kick-outs. And unless he kicked it to Matt Roberts in short, he didn't hit a target and was just burning him flat out. I hated it. And, as a Roberts owner, it's just icing on the cake. But why wouldn't you just give it to a bloke who's known for lacing people out, Hurls?
Yeah, I think, I was the same. I was like, what the hell are we doing here? But the good thing is, as Roberts owners, if you are a Roberts owner, he still managed to get, what did he get, 95? And the game really wasn't on his terms very much at all. And there's going to be heaps more ball distributed through him, I reckon, in other games.
Yeah.
So, But Blakey's a really interesting one. I mean, is he
back-to-back
someone that you could? Yeah, is he someone you could think about? He got 120 odd last week, 105 this week. Again, the buy is bloody difficult because you can't bring him in for 1 week and then they have a week off. But he's scoring well for sure.
Yeah, I still don't like it though. Yeah. Chad Warner, deadly. He was quiet.
I wouldn't say he was quiet. I'll say he was all right. I think the 5 frees against definitely hurt his SuperCoach output, but he done what Chad Warner always does, just has his moments of being the best player on the ground, and then he will hide out for a bit, and then, there he is again, bursted down the middle of the pack, and it's just sort of them things. It's sort of what you got to expect, especially if you want to own Chad Warner at any point. He's going to have a few down games where he's just sort of a bit quieter and can't really shine.
Yep. No one else really there, apart from Riley Bice. Now, we were having a discussion within our WhatsApp group through our Patreon where, for me, I actually thought he was really good when he came on. Yeah, he turned the ball over a couple of times, but he was unreal.
I agree. I think he was really good. I know I had some interesting discussions with our friend Phil, who didn't love some of the turnovers or whatever. But again, I'll say the same about him as I did about Nevitt and the other guys. When your first game of AFL footy, it takes some time to get used to the pace. And I thought, 12 touches after he came on, he might be the problem for owners of Patton, because they sub Patton out for Bice. And Bice did everything you would have wanted as a coach. I can't see Patton getting a game next week myself.
Not now. Nope.
No.
I think you bang on with that, mate. And for those that went early on Sam Wicks, 26 SuperCoach points from his 14 touches. So that's a no-no. For the Brisbane Lions, the thumbnail man himself, and someone who no one selected as squeeze of the week, and that's Josh Dunkley. 173 SuperCoach points, 27 disposals, 10 tackles, 16 of those contested possessions. Deadly. This man was fucking awesome.
That could have been you if, you didn't lose your spot to him, but
you're right.
It's not.
Should I tell the story again? Or
Yeah, tell the story again. Hype yourself up for a little bit.
No, I don't want to. It just ends in horse being sad, so...
No,
I think the Sale Footy Club, when they dropped me for a young Josh Dunkley in the seniors back in the early 2010s, made the right decision.
I think that probably did.
Yeah.
He took the piss. He took the piss. Brought his own footy. Was in everything, tackling everyone. It was great to watch. I mean, Dunkley's a fantastic player just to even watch. And finally, the SuperCoach game that we've sort of been waiting for. He's not really a high upside man, but he's sort of got it done here.
Just consistent, isn't he?
Yeah.
Very consistent. Dane Zorko, 20 kicks, 24 touches, 139 SuperCoach points with 2 goals. Very nice game from him. We scroll all the way down to Levi Ashcroft. I am bringing this man in. I faded him. I don't want to do that anymore. I identified features in his game, which, much like his brother, he's going to be an accumulator. He's good by foot. I don't want to go without having him, so he's going to be in my side very, very soon. But also, where is he? I can't even see him on the screen now. There he is down the bottom. Lachie Neale.
Oh, yeah.
So, from a SuperCoach point of view, Hurls, very, very ordinary. He probably has never scored that low before. But from a footballing point of view, he was the reason why Brisbane came back into the game. Because if you watch around stoppages, Sydney were that centric on trying to help Jordan. He wasn't playing the inside role at all. He was starting way on the outside and allowing his teammates just to gather the ball at will. And they were 4 goals down. Neil goes off. He doesn't touch the ball in the second quarter, barely touches it in the third. And all of a sudden, they're back in the game.
It's an exact prototype game of why tagging is sort of not done very much in the AFL. Now, this was close and Sydney nearly got away with it. But if you look at the games of Dunkley and Berry and Ashcroft and all of these other guys, Neil just, after quarter time, said, all right, I'm getting the heat. Boys, I'm going to take all of the attention and you guys do your thing, and I trust that the team will still win. And that's what happened. I think that's why coaches, the media jump on, why don't we tag the best player and stuff like that? And it nearly worked, but this is why, because it stuffs your whole system up and others get off the chain. So it's really hard to tag properly in today's footy, and that's why a couple of taggers in the comp, Jordan and Bedford, probably the only two real genuine ones anymore. But it was a really real case of that. One word on Zorko I want to mention, because I'm an owner. Just watch what happens next week, because he spent half the game in the forward half. I was slightly concerned by that as an owner of Zorko. So he scored well, but the role changed, and I don't know whether it'll hold or whether that was also part of the Lohman getting injured. So they wanted another dangerous bloke down there and just an in-game move. And hopefully he goes back to the back half next week, but just something to watch.
I'll tell you what, if Lohman misses an extended amount of time, McCarthy's already done an ACL. Who else do they have down there? So they've got Rayner, they've got Hipwood, they've got Bailey, but then who?
Yeah, they recognised it themselves. That's why they moved Zorko down there, to try to get some more sort of danger down there. But we'll see what happens this week.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks like Kyle Lohman's probably going to miss a little bit of time. It didn't look good, let's be honest.
No. Well, you'll be writing up the article for the Patreon in the next day?
Yeah. It'll be up sometime soon, within the next couple of days. I don't know if Ty Galt's ready, but potentially they just go another tall, bring him in. Otherwise, Rocco is the big worry. If he could move forward. Yep,
for sure. As you move us into the next game, mate, we're not going to give him a shout out yet. We're going to go to the game day. Use the code IFSAUS if you have not signed up to Game Day Squad yet to get your 3 9-player common packs. If you're a part of our Patreon, you get a further 3 packs. If you're a part of the league, you get free packs. And you also get free packs every Monday. So there's free packs galore if you get yourself involved in Game Day Squad with us, the Insight Fantasy Sports crew inside the Patreon. Who we got now? Western Bulldogs and North Melbourne. This actually turned out to be an all right game, Deadly.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. There was I much preferred watching this game than that Collingwood shit can fest. We'll start with the Doggies, who ended up pulling away with the win, which Squid, Jasper, all them boys. I'm sorry for you boys. Thought he's had it, to be honest, at times in this game. But Bailey Dale led the way for the Dogs. Kicked 2 goals. I don't know how often that's going to happen, but I think the main one we want to talk about here, Horse, is probably Ed Richards.
Yep.
And why would I be bringing up Ed Richards?
Why would I be bringing up? Talk about it.
Why would I be bringing up Ed Richards, Horse? You want to?
Because I had him for fucking most of the preseason, and then when I saw Essendon weren't going to bring in Setterfield, I'm like, okay, Will Day might be on here if not going to game plan for Will Day. And I went Ed Richards down to Will Day.
Don't let one game ruin a whole month's worth of planning, ladies and gents. That's what we need to take into account here.
Sorry, Dad. But yeah, Ed Richards, he's a fucking superstar, and I missed the boat on him. Whether I get him in before a price rise or not, I'm not too sure. But he looked really good. Again, they're not going to be playing North Melbourne every week, though. So your Bailey Dales and your Ed Richards here, 127 and 119 respectively. Really good games. But Hurls, I know you're watching the other game, but one player I want you to keep an eye out for, especially with Treloar and Bontempelli out, is Matt Kennedy. He looked really good.
I was going to say I didn't see 1 minute of this game. It's the only game of the round I haven't watched any of, and I've got 2 players that I've got questions, or 3 players I've got questions about for you blokes, for the Dogs. One was Kennedy, because that score looks ridiculous. The other one was the Fraser. Again, score looks really good. And on the flip side, Sanders, whose score looks a bit meh. So what happened with those three?
All right, Sanders. We'll jump to Sanders because I reckon this will be a decent conversation to have. I don't think. Am I right in saying he didn't touch the ball for like 16 minutes to start the game? I think he was on zero after 16 minutes.
He looked off.
It didn't look right. He didn't look right at all.
It almost looked like he was crook or something.
It definitely didn't look like happy jumping around young kid Riley Sanders. No. He looked like Libba's age. Let's be honest. Wow. He looked old. He looked an old boy, but he did get saved by the 2 goals, and he eventually got into the game. If you got him, wait another week, see what happens. But yeah, it's a slight worry. Fridge, he was fantastic, wasn't he, Horse? I mean, yeah, he jumped into the mids for a bit. He did absolutely everything. He
was everywhere.
Yeah, he was great.
Deadly, do you think Perryman goes to Ed Richards this week?
I don't know how to read this anymore with Perryman because I really didn't expect that to even happen.
I didn't expect Perry. Yeah, we'll talk about that in the next game, but yeah.
You'd have to worry about it now, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. It's I didn't see them bring Harry Perryman in to be a tagger.
No.
So, okay.
No.
I mean, hey, it's not my team. I wouldn't have done it, but I mean, now that it's happened, it is a definite worry. Yes.
Yep. Good news out of this game. Sorry,
I was going to say it wasn't a real strong tag though. It was just that he was really accountable, and because he was accountable for Pickles, does that lead me to think maybe he'll be more accountable for Libba than he will for Richards? Because he didn't go to Rosie. He went to the bigger sort of midfielder, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Good news out of this game. Cleary has been cleared of any substantial injuries, so he's in concussion protocols. Unfortunately, Archer's been offered 3 weeks for the hit on him, which I know Cleary got hurt, but AFL, that's fucking weak as piss. Sometimes in our great game, people get hurt. Archer, he wasn't trying to hurt the bloke. In fact, he tried to jump over him. If you watch the replay, there was no malice involved. To give a bloke like that 3 weeks, weak as piss. Anyway, we'll move on to the North Melbourne game. And the big X-Spectrum, he was flying in the first half. Slowed down a little bit, though, Deadly.
Yeah, he copped some of the worst cramps I've seen, especially with the way this game's going in the first couple of weeks. We've seen everyone go down with cramp. He copped some of the worst ones. He was real struggling towards the back end of that game.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's still good.
Yeah, bloody oath. Simpkin was good, 115 SuperCoach points from 30 touches. She's God, 31 touches, 106. Wasn't his silky best, but still, when he's not at his best and still scoring 106, you'll take that every day of the week. LDU, 88 with a couple of goals. Will Powell, he was okay. Tom Powell, 85. We go down. Caleb Daniel, 24. He was pretty good without being outstanding. I thought Darling was pretty good, Deadly.
Yeah, Darling did his job. Exactly what you'd expect him to do, coming along and help Larky out. I've got the hiccups now. Great. Yeah, I mean, he complements Larky fantastically. I think it's a great gift for him.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And O'Sullivan, he was pretty disappointing for me. He had 16 touches, but 51 SuperCoach points. Yeah. Not too sure about that
question there in the chat, Horse, if you want to get that up from JRD. I think it's a great question. Should I trade LDU? It was, I knew it was going to be a bad pick. Here's my general advice, and then I'll back it up with a statement. If you pick the keeper, which LDU is a keeper, don't panic after 1 week. Just the right week for him to get a crap score is this week, because it only lasts in the system for 1 week, and just hold. Having said that, I didn't watch this game, so I don't know if his role was unexpected. As long as he's got the role you expected, I would say hold.
Yeah, good advice. Good sound advice.
Yeah.
Let's move to the next game, mate. But before you do, there is a lovely lad who speaks in a different accent to us that wants to speak about the fun and games we have inside our Patreon.
Want to take your SuperCoach game to the next level? Inside Fantasy Sports are bringing you exclusive content all year round, such as weekly expert Q&As, team, trade, and captaincy advice, statistical deep dives, priority podcast questions, and tons more. So what are you waiting for? Get full access to the experts. Go to patreon.com/Insight Fantasy Sports and subscribe to Insight Unlimited today.
Plenty of good stuff going on inside our Patreon, including over the next day or two. We've got both the legends below me writing round-specific articles to help you identify your trade targets and who to bring in, who to trade out, and much, much more of what's going on in the lower leagues in the AFL system. Let's move on to Collingwood versus Port. We called this last week, Hurls, that Collingwood were going to bounce back, especially at the G, but Port really struggled in this one more than what we probably thought.
Yeah, Collingwood brought the pressure and Port just melted. It was a really weird game of footy. Collingwood's tackling was immense. And besides Rosie, the rest of the Port guys were just pathetic, to be completely honest. Even some of them have some stats that padded out okay, like Pickles' stats that look all right, but with no impact on the game. I think it's one of this game and the Geelong game are two really interesting ones because guys like your Perryman, for example, there were no stoppages. And so it was a real quick transition end-to-end game. And so certain guys were suited like Houston and certain guys were not suited like Perryman. So I think there's just one to watch with some of these guys if you've got them, see what happens when the game style's a bit different next week. But Port, geez, they'd want to lift next week. I don't know who they got, but I think they got maybe Richmond, have they? That'll help. But, gee, they were poor.
I'm with Jonas. I bought a ticket to the Pepper Peep show, and I want my fucking money back too. It was fucking horrendous, but we'll get to him. How was Pickles with Perryman following him? I see here that he ended up on 85, was it, or 83?
Yeah.
Is that kind of a good score for what he was looking like? Because I did look at the scores first, second quarter, and he was down there towards the bottom.
Yeah, no impact at all. So he got a bit of the footy. But, yeah, to be honest, when I saw his 80-odd SuperCoach points, I was a bit surprised. I thought it would be more in the 60s or something. There was just no impact at all. They did a lot of work on him. They really did. They made sure that when he got the footy, he had nothing to go to. They pressured him as soon as he got it. It was really well planned and executed by Collingwood.
Back home next week against Richmond, you'd expect him to bounce back?
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
No panic stations there.
What did you see of Jeremy Finlayson? So he's just over 300K forward. He scored 90 here, mate. 85, sorry. That's a fucking big bottle, Deadly.
When you're a man that drinks as much alcohol as I do, you need a bottle like that to get
that's fair.
hydrated.
Finlayson, Hurls, talk to me.
I can't have it. Like he's playing in the back line. The ball was down there the whole game. He probably conceded more goals than you would like for a defender. Yes, he gets some possessions and he kicked the ball pretty well and he took some kick-ins and all that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't be going there. And plus, what happens when Radaglia and Zerk Thatcher are back? The way they defended, he couldn't survive in that defensive role because Membry kicked 4, McStay kicked 3, Myercheck kicked 3. They just had their way with their defence. So if he's part of it, they're in a big world of hurt.
For sure. Was there anything else from the Port Adelaide side that caught your eye, or was this just a shit game that need to forget about and got to just look forward to Richmond round 2?
Yeah, look forward probably. The one who's did what you would have wanted if you went with him at the start of the year, Farrell got plenty of the ball, but again, the ball was just down that end the whole time. So see what happens next week. We shouldn't move on from Port Adelaide without talking about Peppa Pig, should we? My God.
I
knew it was a trap. I knew it was going to be a bite me in the ass, and I didn't expect an 18. Like, yes, he's got job security, but he's shit. That's just as simple as that. He hasn't got the role and he's shit. If you've got him, find a way to get rid of him.
I think if
Short
there
and
was
sweet.
if there was a certain individual who would flip his hat backwards at any point in time to reveal a cone, now would be the time to do it. Anyone?
We'll save it Wednesday night, I think.
The squid. You'll have your cone of the week. You'll have your squeeze of the week. All that will be released on Wednesday when the squid's back.
Yeah. We can't be taking squids.
We're the boring show over here. Wednesday night's the fun stuff.
Did you watch this game at all, Deadly?
I watched bits and pieces of it when I could.
Yep.
I'll be honest, not much really caught my eye, besides the fact that I sort of, the morning of this Saturday games, I sort of broke my team apart to get Ashcroft in and decided to myself that, I could get rid of Power Pepper and get Ashcroft straight from him, or I could keep Power Pepper. And I thought to myself, I reckon Power Pepper will just, if I trade him out, he'll score like a random 100 or something and I'll regret it. So I kept him in. Really regretting that decision now. And in that, I had to sacrifice Connor Rozee. So it really all went tits up for me trying to get Levi Ashcroft in. But besides that, Braden Maynard kicking 2 goals definitely surprised me. And it really really showed how much of a car crash this game was.
Yeah. And you're right, Skits Fits, I fucked up. I did create a show on the wrong day last week, so I'll cone myself, but that'll come at a later date. Hurls, Houston.
Yeah.
Is he the man down there?
He was distributing everything, and if I was so surprised, given he came from Port Adelaide, how the hell can you just let Dan Houston run amok like they did? He isn't going to get it that easy every week, but he's absolutely got the role to be a great SuperCoach scorer. The trouble with Houston, and I owned him for a fair chunk of the second half of last year, he's going to have games where opposition put time into him. So I want to see that in this setup before I declare that you have to go get him. I'd rather target Houston in the back half. If you've already got him, great, you'll be happy. But if you haven't, I'd wait for the back half of the year once we've got some data on teams that actually are competitive and whether they're putting some time into him, and see what happens there.
Yep.
It did impact Josh Dacos a little bit, mind you. So his ball was a little bit less, given that they went through Houston a lot more than Josh Dacos.
Yeah, right. Who is Ned Long and where did he come from?
I was bagging him last week, saying why was he playing? He was the other one. So they did a lot of defensive work on Pickles, and Ned Long was the second banana there. So they didn't let up. So it was either Perryman or Ned Long that was accountable for him for the whole day. The difference though, Ned Long got involved offensively while he was on him, whereas Perryman didn't. So that was, the difference in stats and scores was significant. I don't know if he'll ever do that again in his life, but he played bloody well.
Yeah, didn't he? Side bottom, the old boy, 109, Crisp, 107. Nick Dacos, he is going to lose 100K very quickly, Hurls.
He is, but he was very effective in that game. But SuperCoach wise, he's going to be very cheap at some stage.
Yep. And the 400 game of Pendlebury started as sub.
Yep.
Wowee.
I think that will happen a lot. I think they will, and they're
just managing through.
Early, their early draw. They spoke about this in the presser. They had, I think it's 3 games in 2.5 weeks to start round 0 through to round 2 before their bye. And so I wouldn't be surprised even if you saw side bottom start sub next week. And Pendlebury come on and that kind of thing, just to manage. You'll notice Howe went off and Pendlebury came on. So that while they can, they'll be managing those blokes as much as they can throughout the season. And De Goey's probably back. If it wasn't for the bye in round 3, De Goey would probably be back next week, I hear, but he might be back after the bye. Maybe they might just wait another week. Who knows?
Before we move on to the next game, I have let the next winner of our MCG members ticket and drinks package know that he's won, but he's passing it on to someone else. So Brenton Hicks was the winner of our second ticket, but fortunately for him, or unfortunately for us, he's got a baby due next week, so he can't attend. And he's also the president of the Spring Gully Cricket Club in Bendigo. So with their grand final, he can't leave Bendigo. So I'm going to be doing another draw in about 10 minutes' time. Do you want to move it to the next game, Deadly, please?
Can do.
Who we got, mate? Adelaide and Saints. Fuck me, Deadly. The Saints are going to be a boring watch this year.
Hate it. Absolutely hate it. I mean, there's still no entertainment. They're lucky I even had a multi on this game because I wouldn't have watched it if I didn't, let's be honest. I knew it was coming in this game before it even happened. And, yeah, it was... They need people back. They need Philippou back. They just need speed. They just look horrid.
Mm-hmm. McRae looked good, though. 34 touches, heaps of centre clearances, 127 SuperCoach points. We saw this coming, though. But Wang, Sinclair, 96, 95 respectively. Nah. Steele, even 80. Nah. I was surprised they subbed off Angus Hasty, though. He looked good.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. I was surprised. He looked very good.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe is that a product of Show and Maker being in the team, and so it was just a role kind of thing that they've got a lot of those back flankers. I even noticed that Wang didn't spend all his time in the back half in that game. He was a lot more around the footy.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I thought, geez, they had a lot to choose from that they could have subbed off. I would have thought, and the poor kid did nothing wrong.
No, that's right. He was I was reading, the 7th highest ranking St Kilda player when he got subbed off.
Yeah. I mean, if we own this bloke instead, like Brad Hill was as bad as Peppa Pig. Brad Hill was absolutely
I don't know how Brad Hill didn't get subbed off. I'll be honest. He
didn't touch the ball for a half. He's on big coin and he was terrible. So anyway.
Rankin, though, for Adelaide, he was just taking the mickey, wasn't he? 28 touches, couple of goals, 128 SuperCoach points, and he was just going in second gear the whole day, Deadly.
Yeah, him, Dawson, and Slug were easily the best on. They just all took the piss together whenever they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Rankin's a guy we're going to 100% have at some point during this season. Let's just not even lie about it. As long as he's healthy, he's going to be a top 6 forward.
Yeah, I don't think we need to try and think the room there as long as he stays fit and can keep his bumps to himself. I think he will be top 6. The Slug, 114 SuperCoach points, 29 touches. Our man Pistol Pete in the WhatsApp really, really likes this bloke, Hurls. Can you see a breakout season coming for the Slug?
Oh, he's a gun. He really is. I mean, we called it in the preseason as well. Like, he looked great. We were all worried a little bit about the number of midfield soldiers that they've got and what does that do. But when he goes to half forward, he still wins the footy. So, yeah, definitely think he can. He's really awkwardly priced, and a lot of people have either got Dawson or Rankin or Peatling, so it's hard to pick too many of them. But, yeah, he's a decent pod. I haven't seen the ceiling scores yet out of him. He's probably the only question mark, I would say. So he's about that 110 bloke when he's going well. So if he has some of the poorer games where he gets 70, that could hurt his average. Whereas some of these other guys like Dawson's, if they get a few 70s, they bump it up with 160 in a week or two. So it's just that's what I haven't seen from him yet. But good player.
Rochelle, 21 touches. He was pretty good too.
He was bloody good.
He was really good.
Looks
good.
fit. Looks fit. Got up and down the ground. One thing that was really interesting in this game, and I think it's just a watch because it's only 1 week, but there's a tendency for people to want to go for the back flankers against St Kilda because that's what historically has been gold, and also go vice captains and captains against St Kilda. What today showed was they were so bad that the ball didn't really live in the opposition defence, and that all the midfielders and half forwards got all the ball, and the SuperCoach points were really spread because there were so many dominant players in the opposition. So
the ball
just something to watch.
The ball wasn't even in the back half, and 2 back flankers still got over 100.
No, I know, but I'm talking about your blokes getting 150s and stuff for captaincy.
Yeah,
so they're still going to score.
How bad St Kilda are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deadly, I'll tell you what, Riley Thilthorpe's going to be a player.
Oh, here it is, mate. He's
He's a
so
monster of a
dominant.
man.
He's so dominant. He's great,
Yeah.
and I put him in the multi to kick 3. I was thrilled. I sort of stopped watching him after that, but he did everything that you'd want. And look, if he was cheaper, he'd 100% be in because he's on Sam Darcy levels of progression.
Yep, I agree. Matt Crouch. Oh, fuck me. 8 kicks, 23 handballs, 31 touches. Fuck all else.
Do you want a meters gained update?
Yes.
He played well though. Like, forget SuperCoach for a minute.
Hurls.
He really, look,
La, 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 la.
for this week at least, I'm a Peatling owner, so I hate that Matt Crouch is there.
Yeah.
But
All right.
he complimented the other blokes really well.
Matt Crouch, I'm just going to throw it out there. He had 2 clearance kicks from defence. Both were about 50 metres.
Mm-hmm.
He also kicked a goal from about 40 out.
Mm-hmm.
Take them 3 touches out of his 31. He got about 30 metres gained.
Yeah, but it's not his game.
He finished 218 metres gained.
It's not his job. It's not his job.
Whatever his job is, it's shit
his
house.
job's to accumulate the footy and let Rankin and Dawson get the ball on the outside.
Hurls, if you wanted someone to get 30 touches and go minus 300 metres gained, give me the ball and I'll sit in the car and drive further away from the ground and I'll do it easily.
Know your role, and he played his role perfectly. I don't want him in the team. I don't want him in the team because he's hurting some of the other blokes from a SuperCoach point of view. But there is no way he'll lose his spot.
What are you going to do with Peatling now?
I have to ponder that. I don't really know what I'm going to do this week. I know my first trade. Whenever we're off here, it's unlocked. My first trade is Powell Pepper straight to Bailey Smith because I only
That's
bought
right. You
Peatling
banked 200K, didn't you?
Yeah, I banked 200K by bringing Peatling in for Finn Callahan today. So I sort of conceded about 50 odd points to enable that transaction. But what I do with Peatling, I'm not quite sure yet. I'll see. I could probably punt him as well. I don't know.
Yep. And there's not much else going on there. Malera.
He's played good.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Malera, 13 touches, 58 SuperCoach points. A definite trap. And good to see Sid Draper get on the last quarter, 8 touches, 27 SuperCoach points, but we're still not touching him. Our next game, Deadly, is
the rain game.
The rain game. Melbourne versus GWS. And what a time to bring up this sponsor for the GWS Orange team. Then to shout out our man Ryan from Astute Newstead, the personal sponsor of Lockie Whitfield. Use the promo code INSIGHT. If you want any assistance with home load needs or you just want to borrow some extra cash to splurge on yourself, he's your man. No obligation. Free work for you. There's no quotes because he doesn't charge when you quote Insight. So get onto that today if you want some extra coin or some help with any type of loan inquiries. Let's start with GWS and Lockie Whitfield now that I brought up Ryan. In the wet, 34 touches, 128 SuperCoach points, Deadly. He looked really good again.
Yeah, he did look really good. I thought this supposed Sparrow tag, which happened for once again, all of about 10 minutes, would really affect him. But nope, Sparrow left him alone after Melbourne got off to a decent start, and that was it. Whitfield just did whatever he wanted, and honestly, he probably got GWS back into this game along with a couple others.
Yeah, he did. Toby Green, he was phenomenal. He went through the middle and up forward and 23 touches, 3 goals, 324 SuperCoach points. Hurls, Tom Green, 35 touches, his first game back from an injury, that ankle injury, 1 goal, 115 SuperCoach points. I thought that he may start slower. We might be able to get him cheaper. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
I think he did, but it was only half a game, not a week or two. He looked a little rusty in the first half, but the more it rained in the second half, the more he just loved it. He was him and Whitfield were excellent, and Toby Green. Those three turned the game on its head.
He's lost that puppy fat too, hasn't he?
Yeah, looks fantastic. The good thing with Tom Green, I guess, is if you like him, because he didn't play last week, he's not going up in price, even though like they've got the bye next week. He'll get another game before he goes up. Whereas someone like Whitfield, I think I looked at his break even, and I think he's going to make about 7K, even though he was already bloody expensive because he got
So he's going to get over 600K. Yep.
Yeah, he's going to just nudge 600. So you don't need to worry about any of them this week because they're on the bye. But if you're thinking about bringing Whitfield in, it might just make you wonder. Whereas Green, you've got the extra week, and I think you could do a lot worse than Tom Green. Callaghan did nothing wrong either.
No,
at his price, he still did exactly what he wanted. Probably, if any of them, he was the one that the rain may have impacted the most out of those guys. So give him dry weather, and he's probably even better again. So no problems with Callaghan either.
Good to see our man Plugger in the chat. 2,200, he nearly scored. So what's that? 2,180. Like that. If you went better than that, drop it in the chat. Would love to see who did well. On the other side, as much as I said to slap the C on Gawn if you had him this week and what have you, I ended up fading him to take TDK's score, and then I went down to Cherry to bring in Bo Allen in my back line because I know he's going to play from next week onwards. But fuck, it was scary watching Deadly. He looked phenomenal.
I tell you what, mate, if I had to hear a whistle go off and then hear free kick Max Gawn one more time, I was gonna throw something because that's all I heard for a good chunk of that game. No, he did what we expected him to do. Let's be honest. In this game up against Keith, I'll be honest. Keith held his own. He looked better. Like
he kicked the winning goal.
A lot of frees. He kicked the winning goal. So yeah, he got the last laugh in the end. But
he tried hard, didn't he? I was impressed with Keith. He just didn't let Max free. Like Max Gawn, if he gets his 5 intercept marks like he would get most weeks, he scores 190 instead of 130. And Keith just didn't let him. He just was always with him. Was really, really impressed.
Yeah, 100%. He did. Petraka, 27 touches for 98. Oliver, a little bit quieter, 25 touches, 93 SuperCoach points, but you'll take that. Xavier Lindsay's going to be a player.
Yeah.
Him and Levi are probably the two must-haves for cash gen, I think. I mean, you don't have to go this week, obviously, because they don't go up yet. But if you've got, 3 or 4, and I'll write a bit about this in the buy, hold, sell article that'll come out probably tomorrow. If you've got multiple cash generators that you missed, you have to go on some early because you want to get them all in. If you've only got one that you missed, you might wait another week and go, see what they do next week. But depends on what your team looks like. But he was bloody good. And talk a little bit about Horsey. I know we had a bit of a chat today.
We did.
He does have a wing. He does have a wing roll, which can be a little bit of a problem sometimes for scoring. I made the comment that I don't mind the wing roll at Melbourne because of their style, but I agree with you. It can cap scores sometimes. So talk to me about what you're thinking about Lindsay and that wing roll.
Yeah, I really like it. You watch him, and a tendency with rookies is to rush ball use. No matter where you're playing on the field, you get players that sort of feel the pressure a little quickly or tend to not pick up the game as quickly as others. But this guy, he looked like he'd played 30 or 40 games before he even touched the ball. Like he's just running to good spots, using it well. He tackles hard. He cracks in. I really, really like his game. And at 150K as well, I know they say not to go too early on other rookies, but hypothetically, you could go down from a Finn O'Sullivan down to Xavier Lindsay, save 35K if you wanted to. I think potentially they're going to score similar. If not, Lindsay may be better because he's in a better side. It's really up to the individual to choose as to what they want to do.
Yeah, a bit of food for thought. And this is my very, very, very early thoughts about what I'm toying with. Because I've got Peatling and I don't really need him or want him, and it's best 18 for the next 3 weeks, I'm half tempted to go Peatling down to Lindsay and then Perryman up to an Uber Primo in the back line, or someone up to rank in the forward line. Like pick one of those other lines that needs an Uber Primo and play the extra rookie for 3 weeks because of the nature of at best 18. So that's sort of something you could tinker with as well. I wouldn't go a primo down. Don't get too carried away. So don't go Lockie Neal down to Xavier Lindsay. That changes your structure too much. But if you've got like a mid-pricer that didn't work out so well, like the Bulldogs bloke Sanders or a Peatling or a Perryman, even like those kind of prices down could work.
Yeah, Lockie Neal has West Coast, Richmond, and Geelong in his next 3, and he's known for scoring very, very well against them. So if you do have Lockie Neal, word of advice from the horse and us guys, don't trade him. Yes, he had a shitter. Yeah, he might lose some cash, but fuck, there's some big scores coming. Anyone else you want to talk about here, Deadly, before we move into the next game? Henderson played all right too.
Yeah, I mean, all the rookies played all right. And I'll bring this point up actually because it sort of annoys me, and it's somewhat why I'm off Lindsay a little bit. And it's for no reason for SuperCoach or anything like that. I think I probably will have him very soon. I put all 5 of the starting rookies to kick a goal. Only one that didn't. So I'm slightly off him. It's kind of pissed me off. But besides that, yes.
There's always a way.
Unreal you are, mate. Do you want to go through the last game?
Was
mate?
good. I liked Henderson, though. I agree with your horse. His game was good.
Yeah. All right.
And then we have West Coast versus Gold Coast. Gold Coast have never won a game by 100 points, and they got close in this one. But the first stat that jumps off the page at me right now is big Jared Witts. Our man, Kizza, our Punters Club president, nailed this last week. 68 hitouts to Jared Witts in this one for 144 SuperCoach points, Deadly.
I don't know if Kizza took him in the end.
No, he did. He had the captain on him.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I think he's already made the call that his first trade is going to be Witts down to Baz and bank 250K or something.
Yeah. Well, look, obviously, since we jumped on here, I didn't get the chance to watch past, 10 minutes into the third quarter. But by God, it wasn't even close. It was just, and the commentator said it best on the thing. It was basically saying to the Gold Coast midfield, stand where you want and just say where you want the ball because there's no contest.
Yeah. Oh, we got to stop talking about Witts. Sorry.
All right. Yep.
Matt Rowell.
Look, some call it a masterstroke. Some call it sheer luck. I call it. I'm a bit annoyed still because he still scored less than TDK.
137, 30 touches, 8 tackles. Anderson, 36 touches, 136 SuperCoach points. They scored 270. What's that? 273 points between them.
Thought you were going to have the math. Thought you were better.
Yeah, just 273. Boom.
It's pretty good.
Bailey Humphrey, 104 horse.
Yeah, but may get a couple of weeks. He bit of a slinging arm to the face of someone.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Ethan Reid, fuck me, looks good.
He does.
100 SuperCoach points, 2 goals, 10 touches. But what's that? Sorry.
He was impressive in that first half, but
he's put on some size.
I think we'll reiterate it's West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not good. He's
I
not
think
going
if
to do it every time.
Before you go, Hurls, Gold Coast have struggled mightily away from home. So regardless of whether it's West Coast or not, it's still good for the confidence for them to get one away from home.
Yeah. And look, it's you couldn't script it better, could you, if you wanted to have an away game and you struggle away. So let's see what happens later. But they're off to a flyer. They're on a bye next week, so we don't have to worry about them from a SuperCoach perspective. But Anderson and Rowell and these blokes have all got great scores in the bank now. You can see what you want to do. If you need a primo in round 3 or 4, they're going to be there for the taking, maybe.
Yep. Nothing else really to discuss there. We'll move across to West Coast. And if their number one ruck's going to be Matt Flynn this year, yes, I see that he scored 87 SuperCoach points. But you need to be better than that. Like, Witts is a good ruckman, but for me, he's not top 3 in the AFL.
No, but if you bought Matt Flynn, this is about what you got to be banking for. Surely he's a 90 guy. He's not any more than that. and 6 weeks of 90s is what you bought him for. Like, I know that plenty will jump off, and you might be one of them, Horse, that might be thinking about doing exactly that. But I think if you thought, he was going to get more than 90s, I think maybe you're a bit sort of misguided. So I think,
you are.
And I only saw half of the game, but the score that I can see in front of me is what I would have penciled him in for if I was predicting.
Yeah, West Coast next week have Brisbane at the Gabba. That's going to be disgusting up there.
Yeah.
Bloodbath.
So, that might be tough. Young Jack Graham, who crossed from the Tigers, and Baker, who also crossed from the Tigers, 107 and 102 Supercoach points respectively. Puddin,
Graham
McGovern,
looked really good. Graham looked excellent. Like, he was the one midfielder that I thought in that first half that I watched that I thought, geez, he's working his ass off. He was just always wanting to get to the next contest. He was putting his body on the line. Whereas Tim Kelly, my God, he needs a rocket, that bloke. He was just disinterested.
Yeah.
And Harley Reid, for that matter, too. Harley Reid, I don't want to get too critical of a young kid, but he needs to get his head into footy and not this wrestling shit that the opposition can get him sucked in too easy, and he gets his attention away from the ball. He can play, but he needs to get that bit right.
For sure. Not much else really going on here. Hewitt, 52 Supercoach points. You'll take that after that really slow start that he had.
Absolutely.
That's fine. But we're looking at this West Coast side here, Deadly. And for those that are thinking about trading out Lachie Neale next week, and he's coming up against this West Coast team, you just don't, do you?
Yeah, I'm just sort of reading a bit about the back end of the game with the injuries and whatnot. And by the looks of it, I don't know if Waterman's going to be right for next week. It seems his calf's been a bit of a problem for him. And apparently Matt Owies also went down towards the back end of the game. So
Jeez.
Backman next week.
That's
West Coast are in trouble.
Yep. It's going to be a feast up there at the Gabba. Unfortunately, it is what it is.
It's going to be a great week over here in the West this week, though, with all the media getting stuck into Freo and West Coast. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, both got pumped, didn't they? They'll be sitting second last and last on the ladder.
They will be. They were both shit house, and the media will love it too. I can't wait to listen to some of it.
One from
Port will be last.
From Power Roof Restorations. Thanks for joining us, mate. For you boys, who was your one glaring early trade in or trade out?
I think me and Hurls have the exact same. It's probably just going to be Power Pepper straight to Bailey Smith for both of us.
Yeah. I restructured my team today to do that.
We both have the money in the bank to do it. So yeah.
Yep, same with me, and it'll be Levi Ashcroft in as well. 100%.
I've got Levi, so I think I'll have Xavier Lindsay. So if I make two trades, it'll be Lindsay and Baz, and if I use a boost, there'll be another Primo joining them.
Because it's a bye week, do we get 4 trades this week or just 3? Because usually on bye weeks you get 4.
I think the early buys are just 2.
Okay.
The early buys are just two normal trades, and you've got your 5 boosts, obviously.
Let me actually find that out. I want to know.
Yeah, pretty sure it's only 2.
While you're looking that up, I've just done the generator for our
it's just
round 2. Okay, our round 2 Essendon versus Adelaide MCC members and drinks package, and our winner is Jasper Steeds. Jasper, enter my DMs, mate, or Deadlies or Hurlses, and we'll set you up for this weekend. You've got members tickets and a drinks package at the MCG. Congratulations, mate.
Well done,
we'll
Jasper.
be running more competitions later in the year for you guys at home to join us for a footy game where there'll be drinks package and all that sort of stuff available too. So get in, follow the guys at the NFL show, and also jump inside our Patreon. It costs you nothing. It's free to join, and you win heaps of free cool shit. So what more could you want? Now we'll get stuck into some questions.
It's question time. Let's answer your questions for the week ahead.
We got a man in the chat, body there, mate. 2299 with Flynn still. He would have cleared 2-3.
What's with all my mates absolutely flooring me this week? I tell you.
Is this one of your mates, is it?
Yeah, it's one of my good 2K mates. He knows his stuff as well, bodied. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, good. The Wilson family, 2210. Well done. That's above average.
Good scores, yep.
They're all beating me. I got 2-0.
Oh, that's right. We've got a deal. We've got a bet. Here we go.
What did you finish on?
All right. Is yours
I never
higher?
agreed to this bet.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
All
I'm
right,
not
is
drinking
yours
beer
higher
out of a
than-
straw, you pansy.
Yes, you are. If you lose. All right. Is yours higher than 2020?
Yes.
2030?
Yes.
2040?
Yes.
2050?
Yes.
2060?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. What's your score?
2068. What'd you score?
2061?
Yes. Yes. I mean, the bet's on. Yes.
Didn't you not agree to that or something? Or
Nah, too bad.
oh.
Jono, 2075. Unreal. Cal, yeah, Sardis was shit, wasn't he? Hurls, talk to us about what they were doing with his time.
Look, he's a burst midfielder. I think he's always going to be in the middle when he's on the ground. And because they used more rotations on Friday night, they had no choice but to rotate him to the bench. So because and they even what Essendon did on Friday night was Caldwell spent the majority of the time in the middle. Merritt even spent a little bit of time forward. Redmond spent a lot more time in the middle in the first half. And so by nature, they had to then move Sardis onto the bench. I think that TOG will adjust slightly. I think it'll go to about 65 to 70 next week. And he's still at 60-something percent CBAs. So the role's still the same. I'm very much hold for a player like that where the role hasn't changed. But if he gets another 50 next week, I'd punt him.
I tell you what, we've got a 2402 in the chat.
Bloody good work.
There's
some good players around. I think I only got 2,053, and like I said, last year was the same, and I was about 70,000. So I think it'll be exactly the same. And your rank will be interesting because your rank will look shit house this week, but don't panic because there'll be so many people 1 point below the next that your rank doesn't really
100%.
matter after this week.
100%. Plugger, enjoying watching Ethan Reid. Yeah, looks like he's going to be a real player this year. JRD, Matt Prittis is going to tag Neil out of the game. About the only chance they've got to win.
They might bring him
Or
back.
to get within 100, sorry. Bosch. Chris Bosch. Deadly, are we holding Perryman?
I'm giving him one more week.
You
And it's just due to the simple fact that I just don't believe that he's going to tag every single week. If he does, then he's definitely gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want the same role that he's been practicing in for this whole time. Like, I don't understand why you change it now just to try and stop Horn Francis. I guess it worked. They won by 91, but I don't know if that was the exact reason why they won by 91.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have mattered. Wouldn't have mattered this week. It was just.
I think it's a bit silly, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm a bit with you. I think the thing with these kind of blokes, though, like Perryman and that, their purpose in your team is cash gen, right? And so you now know that, and Perryman's a really interesting case because he's played 2. So his price is going to change next week and he's got a break even of about 77. So I don't expect that he's going to drop in cash, but it also means that he's going to take longer than you might have expected to make cash. So if you want to move Perryman, he's one that I wouldn't talk you out of. But if you want to hold him, I can understand that logic as well.
For sure.
Yep. If I do boost or do some type of Hurls tactic like moving an AFL Premiership up, he's probably one that will go this week. But that's just an if I decide to.
Yep. IJ, 1281 in NRL SuperCoach. I think all of us got IJ this week.
Yep, got him.
Even I did, and I'm hopeless.
What did you get, Deadly?
12.98.
I got 12.94 and you got 13.01, didn't you?
13.01, yeah. And I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I genuinely mean that.
Of course, if we combine our scores, or if we put our scores together, the difference is about 3.
Yep. And you're still drinking out of a straw, mate.
Hey, for the people, I will. I'll do it.
Good.
It'll be the quickest year I ever have in my life because I don't want to be
Kevin,
seen doing
2198 with Davidson's 39.
The rookie roulette this week was the real problem. So the really good scores, I think you'll find when you start looking at other people's teams, the really good scores would have had no Lockie Neal, and they would have had rookies other than Pepper Pig and these kind of
probably had Ashcroft, Nevitt on field.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had Cal Pepper.
That's 150, 200 difference, right? So I don't think you don't need to get too panicked yet because it's like 3 or 4 little decisions this week would have made 200 points. So you just got to back yourself, make your decisions based on cash gen and what you want to do with your team over the next few weeks. But don't be too stubborn and keep people either. If someone's shit and you don't want them, punt them. You can easily have 5 or 6 correction trades and it's okay.
For sure. What was your highlight of the week, Hurls?
SuperCoach wise, or what? That's a broad question.
Oh, just AFL wise.
AFL, I can't go past Thursday night, to be honest. As an extreme, unfiltered Carl Scum hater, and I hate them more than any other team in the comp by a long, long way. Even like I hate Hawthorn, but I hate Carl Scum by double that amount. To see them lose and to see the crowd just be feral, it made my weekend. It didn't even hurt that my SuperCoach score wasn't that good and Essendon lost because that set it up beautifully for the weekend. So that was my highlight for sure.
Deadly?
I didn't get to I had to watch a whole bunch of games back today and this morning and whatnot. I bloody had a long footy day, I'll tell you that much. I've watched about 5 games just today. My highlight was actually probably not even SuperCoach wise. It was just seeing Murphy Reid kick those 4 goals. Mm-hmm. It was just so good to watch. Young bloke who sort of, he didn't have the greatest first half, let's be honest, but you sort of warming into the game. And then to kick 4 within 6 minutes, it's outstanding stuff. And yeah, it's a moment he'll remember forever. And I just love seeing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Puma's highlight was Saligo. Brownlow incoming.
Oh, I bet it was. Also, Puma, I got you in game day squad this week, so suck shit, kid.
Yeah, okay.
He can
we'll have to do a game day specific episode this week too.
Or Jasper's just put up 2 of my pet hates, or one of my 2 pet hates. Get Jasper's quote up there. Sanders got his first goal and no one went to him. I hate that. It takes no effort at all to get around to a bloke who's kicked their first goal. I think that sucks. And my other one, if anyone's really interested, is the starting a debutant as sub like they did to poor bloody Adelaide bloke this morning. I hate those 2 things, so that sucks.
Yeah, it's Langford too today.
Yeah.
Good question here from David. Back-to-back weeks, Dacos scoring below his break-even. Would you still want to keep him knowing he'll have a large price drop before the buy?
No.
I would probably want to be attacking. Trade him out, and then once he bottoms out, get him back in.
Yeah.
Deadly?
Look. Yeah. Go on, Deadly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably similar. You would explain it better. I haven't really thought about it that way because I didn't really want to own him after the opening round game. So I haven't really thought about it that way too much.
I think that's a good point too. You make, Deadly. Like if you saw the first game and still kept him, then maybe there's a really good argument to say just don't worry about his price because you're just never going to trade him anyway.
Yeah,
and just keep him and not worry about it and don't waste the trade. I don't know. I think you could trade him though because he's going to lose a fair bit of cash. Yeah, and he's got the buy. If he didn't have the buy, if he's gonna lose cash and you're getting no score from him in 2 weeks' time, I think there's a good case that you shouldn't have started him. So 2, don't be stubborn and hold on to a mistake. Just fix it.
For sure. How did your draft league go, Deadly, before we knock off for the evening?
Which one?
The Inside Draft League, AFL.
Just the non-keeper one. What did I do? Let me have a look. I
can tell you, you lost by 3 points to Polly's Legends.
Is that why you brought it up? Is it?
No, I just brought it up because it's underneath mine.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I captained Caleb Daniel. I had my captain on Fridge since the draft. Decided to move away from it and put it on Caleb Daniel. If I captain Fridge, you know what? You can't write this stuff, and it's just how the cookie crumbles. I'll roll with the punches and keep cooking.
Yeah.
And keep a draft, which is the only one that I'm in. I had a win, but deadly 444.
How many I scored?
444 you scored.
You would not read about it.
Oh, I tapped in Harley Reid for 44. That's cool.
Is this a percentage? Is it percentage that separates positions? TJ's Thunder's off to a flyer with 1,000-point win.
It's like the Brisbane Lions have just thumped the West Coast Eagles.
That's not even close to the worst team. Can I, for 1 week, make the worst team I can create? Because realistically, I'm going to lose anyway.
For those of you that aren't a part of this draft league, ladies and gentlemen, his team is worse than Fitzroy in their last year in the AFL.
All right, I'll give everyone the rundown. Right, the highest score in this 20-person draft league was 1,567. The lowest score was 941. That wasn't me because I scored 444. The average.
So you're 500 behind the next worst.
The average score is probably around 1,300. I'm about 100. I'm about 1,000 below that.
I know this is I know it's a keeper league, Deadly, but like you're going to need 7 years of drafting to get back to competitive. Yeah,
that's unreal.
Just get ready.
Anyway,
I do have to give a shout out though to the SuperCoach Premier League draft, which is into its 10th year now. And some of the more experienced drafters in the state of Victoria are in this. And Horses for Courses got done in the first week by 20 points, which is not great. 1,077 I scored. But there's a lot of good coaches in here. So when we do our SuperCoach draft show, which will be coming in the next 24 hours, we will target the waiver wire and tell or give you a bit of an insight as to who to target, who not to target, trades wise, and a whole lot more. So be sure to stick around for that one. Hurls, you got anything?
I was going to say, Deadly, you need to tune in for that one. I think you're going to have pick one.
I know who I'm taking next year with pick one anyway. But I wouldn't have done this. I only found out about this the other day. Are we apparently doing a forfeit for this keeper league?
Are we doing a what?
A forfeit for last place in this keeper league.
What's a forfeit?
Oh no! Well, when you come last, and you got to do, you know what a forfeit is?
Yeah, okay.
Well, like a punishment or something.
Like a punishment.
Yeah.
You might have to drink another beer through the straw. In the SPL Premier League, there's SuperCoach Premier League. Touch My Heaney, coached by Brenton, scored 13.23, which was the top score this week.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yep. Deadly, anything you want to sign off on, mate?
Matt Rowell. Flagged on Campbell Chester will be back soon. I don't know. That's about it. That's all I got going.
West Coast might need Campbell Chester. Hurls, you got anything?
Yeah, I think everyone is probably got 4 to 5 blokes in your team this week that you didn't do what you wanted, and you're gonna want to punt them all. You're gonna make overreactions. You're gonna think it's 1 week of data, so just be calculated. By all means, trade, because trading is critical in the next 2 weeks. And correct what you need to correct, but correct on the basis of cash generation. If you just fix blokes who you don't like to other blokes, and then next week they get 100 and the bloke you bought in gets 80 and your cash gen isn't any better off, you're just going to go nowhere in 3 or 4 weeks' time. So it's all about cash gen, even if some of the people you have to keep you hate.
He's late to the show, but wits. Kiz is back. That's us done for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't yet, please give us the thumbs up. Hit like, subscribe, and the bell. Be a triple banger. We'd love that. But also, if you're listening to us on audio, give us that 5-star review. It would help us out tremendously. For now, and until Wednesday night, I'm the horse. Got Deadly and Hurls with me. We're going to catch on Wednesday night where we preview round 2, our trading targets, who's hot, who's cold, talk a bit of SuperCoach, show around a bit of banter, and a whole lot more. We'll catch you then.